Do it again, Jake. Jake, come out here and show them what you got here. Dude, exactly. Nailed it. I'm Rich.
I'm Frank.
And it's People, Pints, and Possibilities.
Yeah.
This
That
is
might
a
have been
good
the
team.
best clap right
Usually they're horrible. This is a good team.
Because it's going to be the best podcast. It's going to rock.
Welcome to the People, Pints,
out
Possibilities podcast. I'm the Vibe Titan.
Dabbling around.
And we got Daren with us. Daren Alexander. I just hit his mic stand. Started off really smooth here. Daren, the Double D is your nickname, I heard.
I've been known to be called that, yes.
And you might be a little demanding, I heard.
So I'm probably, I don't view myself as old demanding. So the nickname grew out of, I was fly fishing in the Grand Canyon, and I had a tendency to get a lot of tangled line. And we had this great female guide who said, he's really demanding. In fact, he's demanding Daren. And being good friends, they just launched on
They
that and
loved
it
it.
stuck.
Yep.
And it became Double D.
And we love the nicknames because the people who love you, they won't let them die.
And they morph them. So the first D in demanding Daren morphs into a wide range of
Anything
things.
you want. Yeah, I can guess. Some good ones. Well, we're glad to have you. Just a little background. This guy is a CEO of a tremendous company. And we've done a ton of research. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we want to get to the story behind Daren. Daren of AC Electric, the CEO. But as we like to do here, the People, Pints, Possibilities podcast, we're going to dig in behind that, what it takes to take a company like that or be the guy who leads a company and all the things that go into that, because you know what we see on the surface is never kind of what we see underneath. We miss some of those things. So we're excited to dig into that. And you have your own podcast.
Yes.
He got his own podcast, so we might get some questions fired at us as well.
What's the name of the podcast?
That's a great question. It's the True Blue podcast.
True Blue Podcast. Is that Spotify, YouTube?
I have
Internal.
no idea.
Okay.
It's internal.
Internal.
Yeah.
Oh, internal.
So
okay.
you do it for your team, right?
Correct.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
you interview them?
So I interview people that are on the team. The goal is to connect, to make this large company much smaller and connect people. And it's as we've grown, it's hard for people to have that personal connection. So we'll interview people about their careers, about lifestyle things, about changes in the organization, related trade associations or vendors or people that just have a story to tell that we think will resonate with folks within the company. Goal is to shrink it and share experiences.
That is cool because there's a lot of people.
Gone.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
That's
There's a
all
lot of people
utilizing.
in there.
That's great. How big's the company?
In terms of people, we're about 550 right now. We range between 500 and 650.
Wow.
And this year we're about to go through another growth spurt. So in sales, we'll be 200 to 250 million.
So a connection to
good
Paso. This gentleman brought his team here, 400 people to Paso, partied down in Paso, communicated with the city, took over the city in a great way, stayed at our hotels at the Paso Robles Inn, Hotel Ava, had some parties all over. He had people playing golf, people zip lining, people little yacht rock going on here. Had a great time. Like that's a testament also to you and building your teams and getting them together. That was pretty cool, huh?
And that's a thing we love to do is connect people. So I'm going to throw this a little bit back on you. What was exciting about having our event here was walking in and sharing with you the vision and you looking at me like, oh shit, we don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to do this.
Actually, the full behind the story is when your people connected with Martha, she said, I don't know, you might want to go to a bigger place. And you went and saw some other places and you wouldn't take no for an answer. You came back and Martha said, no, they really want to do it here. And exactly what you said. You came in and said, yeah, I think we'll go right there. That's going to be here. We'll do this in here. We'll put something there. And you started walking around and I went, I'm not sure. 400 and something people, they're just going to walk over this. You're absolutely right. And that you're used to that reaction sometimes.
Yeah. And that's everything. Remember, every amazing thing we do starts with the crazy idea that nobody thinks you can do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, probably same thing for you. seeing the vision of what this amazing brewery could be,
Yep.
I bet you people would walk in here and go, what are you talking about on that day one?
You're absolutely right. And it's interesting that it switches, because when you get in the day-to-day of your brewery or your electric company, sometimes you get in that finite and then something has to jolt you out of it, right? Or somebody, like that's your role. You know, they jolt you out of it to keep you continuously growing, keep you climbing, keep you moving forward.
I bet you people come in here now, look around and say, well, it's obvious this was always going to be this cool brewery with multiple rooms. And they have no concept of how many years it took, how much sacrifice it took, the process. Once you have success, it just becomes self-evident. It was easy, right?
Yeah, piece of cake. Daren, they thought we bumped our heads when we bought this place.
Yeah.
People still to this day will tell us, you guys were crazy.
Yeah. They thought it was.
But we had a vision. We saw it.
This was a wreck of a building, and they said, you wasted your money. You're going to pay to buy these 2 buildings, and you're going to have to knock the whole thing down. And here we sit. Yeah. Well, let's get to you, because I want to, and he's going to fire questions back at us because that's who he is. Let's set the stage for the people out there listening. Daren, they're both intertwined, so we're going to hit the history of not only you, but also AC Electric, which is a company that your family has been involved in. Is that right? Or is it?
Correct.
Yeah. And it goes all the way back to the 40s, right? That's pretty impressive. So hit us with the history. Just give us some fun facts and some background.
So founded in 1945 by my grandfather. I'm 3rd generation and have 4th generation folks working in it now. It was really coming out of the war. There was a whole group of people up at Edwards Air Force Base and in China Lake Naval Station, and they would literally sit around campfires and talk about what they were going to do when World War II was over. And they were going to form this company that they were all sort of partners on, and they were going to have the higher skilled people, and everybody was going to have a piece of the profits. And they had all this vision. And then when the war was over, there were only 2 guys who had any money to do it. And that was my grandfather, Joe Alexander, another guy named Tom Core. The funny thing is, in the 60s, late 50s or 60s, Tom Core sold out to my grandfather, took his money, and went over here and bought land in Los Osos and developed all that area. And his family will come by occasionally, and I'm slaving away, don't have time for them, and they'll tell me the stories about how their grandfather had founded it, and they've never had to work a day in their life.
Turns out they were both smart.
Yeah, and I always have this vision of we go, yeah, we rocked it, and we got the best deal, and here we are working 80 years later.
Cranking. But yours will go on forever. Some point that land gets sold and it gets left, and the money gets spent. And it seems like you guys are cranking away right now. You just celebrated 80 years, right, in business.
Yeah, and that's
amazing.
Think of it. The U.S. is going to turn 250 years. This is the data point that always seems surreal to me. We've existed for 1/3 of the length of time that United States has existed.
That's pretty amazing.
On one hand, 80 years doesn't seem that long until I put it in that frame, in that context for me.
That's amazing, because they say when you start a business, we've been 7 years, right? And they say the first businesses go out usually in the first couple of years. 5 is another marker, and then after 10, they have a little bit of staying power. And you guys have been there 80 years, so that's very impressive.
And been able to keep it, and this is what I think gets to be real unique, and it's part of my challenge on how to take it to a 4th generation, is moving it through generations and keeping the values and keeping the culture and keeping the work ethic. And if anything, we've consolidated ownership more in our family around, rather than less consolidation. And we're having a clearer vision for how it actually continues on.
We'll keep that going. So your grandfather starts it in the 40s. And what is that initial business looking like?
So they started in the San Joaquin Valley in a little town called Delano. It was just your basic, couple guys as electricians, starting out doing small projects and building it little by little. My grandfather always had a vision of being really big. He was, he had it mapped out. He always had an eye for the future. He had a really strong value system of following through, of caring about people, of seeing the best in people, of caring about the communities. So there's always a strategy of embed ourselves in the communities. He wanted to grow. He was really enamored by that. And at one point we had 10 or 12 offices in California. But he grew it based upon people, assuming people would just do the right things, that they knew how to run a business like he knew how to run it. And so we really got into some actually just growth problems, that lack of control. We had an office over here, either in Napomo or I think it was in Napomo. And the story I always hear is that guy was what we call kiting jobs. He was always moving the money from one to another. So it always looked like it was profitable, but it was failing. And so we ended up obviously shutting that down at some point. So my grandfather was a growth guy. My father came in at a time when we had grown too big without controls, without the right people. His experience was that's bad, and he spent his time learning by shutting down offices. So we contracted from 10 down to about 5, then down to about 3.
And his purpose, from what I hear you, is to get it back to that heartbeat of what you were about and who you were and control it a little bit better. And was it a financial decision, a people decision, a culture decision?
I think it was, at that point, a survival decision.
Survival, yeah.
Time to weed the garden.
Yeah. And then the cool thing is the journey for me was studying both of those. We have a lot of our history written and seeing that growth without controls and process and all that in place is a recipe for area. Not growing, because my dad was not as much about growth, is bad because the people you want on board want to grow. They want to be excited. Not growing the company, they want to grow personally, right? And if you can't have them grow and develop if you don't allow the company to grow. So now we've flipped it and we're growing really fast, but we're not growing as a mandate. We're growing based upon how people grow and the development of the leaders. In fact, that's kind of a belief we have. Yes, we build projects, but we actually build leaders who build projects and who build solutions for our customers.
Dude, who sent this guy to come here and talk our language, Frank? This is beautiful. And no wonder you're doing so well. I want to keep on that. But you talked about it. Just there's not enough companies that stop and talk. We're talking about the people portion. Leadership, like what does it look like in your company? What does it look like to how do people treat people when they're leaders? How do they carry themselves? How do they improve their skills daily? And you're talking about that stuff. How do you find time, or you just made time? What inspired you to get towards creating leaders? So 15 years ago, I really did some soul searching on if I even wanted to do what we wanted to do, right? So for me, I'm not an electrician, which is actually a gift. I don't try to solve electrical problems. I try to develop people. And I had to go through a soul searching process where I had mentors, I had advisors. In fact, I have a whole protocol of like personal board of directors that help me with these things. But they finally helped me figure out what I really wanted to do in my life. And the funny thing was, this company became the gift avenue to do it. So I have a tagline that I really, really believe in. What my gift and what my vision in is to help people achieve their full potential and then raise their potential. And so everything I just take back down to that. And so on leadership, we flip leadership on our head. We're not leaders. We're not in positions of authority to have people report to us, for us to tell them what to do. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's harder work than ever. Our whole job is to be attentive to them, to help them develop into the greatest people they can be. And that's where all our energy goes. And it's what people underestimate is when it's working, that is a forever constant job. Wow. Do you find that people, when you do that, at first they don't believe you? They're kind of unsure.
Yeah. Oh, very much. It's not anything you can tell people, this is how this company is. They have to come experience it.
Love it. Yep.
And we had a guy that we had been courting for, I don't know, months. And he finally accepted the job, and he didn't, we had to explain to him, this is what we really do. And he finally got up here and realized it and says, yeah, this place is different. It's crazy. It's not for me. I wanted to tell people what to do. I wanted them to report up to me. And we said, yeah, that's just not how it works here.
I love that. When you're so clear with your expectations and who you are, the only other thing left is for people coming in to clearly decide, does this work or does it not work? But you get to cut out all the little things in between, which is like, we normally blame, complain, defend other things, and we figure some way to get ourselves out of here. But instead, you're like, hey, we're really good people, and here's what we stand for, and here's how we want you to do things. And in the end, he had to say, well, this doesn't work for me. And it was probably because you want people to be vulnerable, that you want them to be leaders, you want them to ask for help, you want them to not just direct people, but help serve the people beneath them. Dude, you're a man of our own heart around here. No wonder everybody's laughing when we got together.
And that's why the connection was there on doing what we did. That's why our people connected. That's why the venue fit. It exudes in everything here, and that's why it was easy to walk around and go, yeah, this is perfect for our culture.
Yep, and you helped take us to another level, because you doing that was a shot in the arm for us, to be honest, just up front, is what a blessing, because it can be a nightmare if people want to come over and take over your venue and do those things, if you worked really hard and you care about it and you had that vision. But on the other hand, when it works together, like you gave us a shot in the arm in January that we are gratefully appreciative of. And the city of Paso is too. People were talking about you and your company, and with the gratitude of, man, just coming in on a January where things are slow, in a smaller town, and you don't really get a injection of, just not only just revenue, but an injection of just people, vibrance, a company having a great time. It was inspiring in a lot of levels. So we're very thankful that you are crazy enough to have dreams like that.
And it fits. So I'm going to see if I can weave this into part of the fabric of who we are. Part of what we like to do is embed ourselves in communities and make them better. So when we do these old company functions, we like January because that is a slow time, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, on one hand, it's economically better for us, but it's actually giving back to the communities that we care about.
Sure the hell is. We're a testament to it. Keep it going, keep it rolling, because your dad takes over, shrinks it down. I want to get to you just on this, give people a full connectivity to this really cool business that you have. And now you've seen both of these leaders in front of you, right? How do you weave your way into that and then become the CEO? I know you talked about you weren't sure, but describe that process when you're young, just kind of coming up through there.
So I grew up in the business, the standard mode of what you think of a family business. I mean, I literally, sounds stupid, I swept the floors. In 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade, wed the flower beds. As I got older in high school, I worked there after school and sorted parts and gashed vehicles and took care of equipment. And then in high school and summers, I would work on jobs. And then in college, I did the same thing. So it was embedded in the fiber of who I was, just seeing it culturally, what works, what doesn't. All the stories that you would expect in a rough and tumble construction company of what, the owner's son. I mean, the level of lessons
target on your back.
Oh yeah,
all the
time. and it's so fun because I've now studied a lot of that. There's a great Harvard study on, they call it the tests of a prince, of all the things that go on to that I've shared with my kids as they come in. These are all things that are going to happen. People are going to test you. They're going to do all these different things. But I grew up in it, and I went to college at UCLA and went in as an electrical engineer and absolutely hated it. I mean, I was in there for the wrong reasons because I thought that's what I need for the business. Switched over to psychology because that's where all the really cute girls were.
Smart.
Got a psychology
Nailed
degree.
it.
Yeah.
Smart.
And then got ran over by a truck and broke everything, my neck, my legs, my arms, and And then it came out of that and said, I got to do something. I got to have a little bit more substance than just pure psychology.
Hold on, you got
Wait,
run
yeah,
over.
time out. That wasn't a metaphor or simile there?
Whoa. So what happened?
So can we circle back on that one?
Yeah,
we won't let you
because
forget,
it is.
I promise that.
Trust me, I won't forget to ask.
Well, I'll even back up. A really cool moment was I was in there trying to do this electrical engineering and UCLA and taking the physics and chemistry, and I realized I hated it. And I called my dad up, and I knew I was going to crush him. I just knew I was going to crush him.
Was he an electrical engineer, I take it?
No, he was not.
Okay.
He was a
tradesman?
business guy. He went through part of an apprenticeship, but he was never an electrician.
Okay.
He knew more than I did. And I had that phone call, and I told him, I said, Dad, I don't want to do this. I hate every part of it. And I knew I just was going to crush him. And I was so fearful of it. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? And I go, this is going to kill him. I want to get a psychology degree. And there's a long pause. And he says, well, son, let me tell you, in all my time running this company, I've never, ever had to solve an engineering problem. But every single day I have to solve people problems. He says, I think that's a lot better path.
Wow.
And I laughed because I was so afraid, right?
Yeah.
How many times are we so afraid to take an action?
We make it worse than it's actually going to be.
And it never
right?
is that bad.
And imagine if you never told them. Imagine if you didn't have the courage and you just went through it and you were miserable and they made you an engineer, and you were out there doing it. That's a lot of bravery to make that. And it's a defining moment in your life, right?
It was a huge defining moment. And just having the trust. And that's what I've always wanted with my kids and with people I work with. Have the trust to come in and tell me that thing that's really bothering you.
Absolutely. We say, to tag into that here, we do not expect you to be perfect. We expect you to communicate what you need, though. That is an absolute, non-negotiable. We hate that term, but here you have to let us know. Otherwise, you'll bury it and it'll come out some other way. And like for you, you're doing the same. You had to be able to say, hey, I don't know if this is working for me.
And it will be buried until it gets solved. You can't, we always laugh at this. Whenever there's something not getting fixed or improved, there's an emotional component in somebody that you haven't solved. Until you deal with that emotion, you can't solve the problem. Right? It's always buried there.
On vacation.
On vacation.
You haven't heard that story, but the longest story short, Frank was on vacation. We put a sign up. This is just amongst us. We put a sign up. Martha and I had seen at this brewery a sign that said "on vacation" on the beers when they went off. And instead of saying this beer is out or sold out, we put "on vacation." Frank, not thinking, we did not do it on purpose, comes back from his vacation, the first one he's ever taken in 3 years. And we totally didn't think, it's so stupid now when you hear about it. And Frank sees the "on vacation" sign, and we were so proud of it. So he takes it off and he puts it up above his desk, or in the back area. He has like a little area. And like a month later, I go, hey, I need that "on vacation" sign. One of the beers is off for the first time again. And he's like, oh, on vacation? And I said, yeah. And he thought we meant on vacation, as in he was on vacation.
Yeah. I set high standards, Daren, and I'm like, okay, this guy's fucking with me. All right, this is my partner. Here we go.
He was so
You're a little bit
pissed.
bitter about that. I'd finally take a vacation.
And he's a military guy, so he buried it. Now we don't have to do that.
A lot, but
that was early in like our, just owning a business together, and now we don't have to worry about it. But
I still have it.
On vacation.
Still have it.
And think of how long that festered with you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was based
absolutely.
upon just a belief that you had that was just unsubstantiated.
No malintent, but absolutely, Daren. That bubbled for a while.
Yeah, and he didn't believe me. I had to go get Martha to say, hey, we didn't put "on vacation" on. She's like, what? No. Yeah. Then he finally, there it was. So you're right. Those moments of clarity where you can find common ground are important. And so now you get to be in the business. But you don't have to be an electrician or electrical engineer. So how do you progress from there after you talk to your dad?
So when I graduated from college, I graduated with a couple of degrees, and we have a firm rule now. It was just a suggestion then. I went and worked somewhere else. And so I went and did jury consulting and litigation consulting for a couple of years down in L.A., then moved to Chicago, and then opened up a Houston office for him. And the cool thing was,
Wait, whoa.
it was the
Jury
newest job.
consulting?
Oh, it was an unbelievable job.
I'm not a smart man. What exactly is jury consulting?
The guy in the beard's going to vote no, or were you picking people out?
Except we were not trying to go, oh, he looks like. We would do $1 million worth of research on a case. Ooh. We would know how jurors make their decision, what the key issues were. And it built from this premise, which this is kind of a defining thing for who I am, was people walk in to a courtroom with all these predisposed beliefs.
Right.
What they remember is only the things that back up their beliefs. Yeah. So they walk in there, they sit there, they listen to the opening statement, they go, yeah, I kind of think I'm for that guy. And it's because of all these beliefs. It's just like you had the belief that they're putting the sign up to fuck with me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
And there's things we learned, which is you can move certain people you can move their mind. And certain people, it doesn't matter what they said, they were never gonna let go of the fact that they were getting fucked with.
Yeah.
But certain people can move. And so we learned how to move people, how to identify those that would always be for one side or the other, and how to get them off the jury. And think of being a 20-year-old kid. I flew around the country and did this research and connected and
wow.
I didn't know that was the thing. So you worked for like a prosecutor or the DA, or were you working for the court?
So it would be a civil case.
Okay.
So like American Airlines had a big crash at Dallas-Fort Worth. So they got sued by everybody in there.
Anybody that wanted.
And it was where was the mistake made. And so we were trying to figure out how did jurors think, or worked on Buster Douglas. Remember
Buster Douglas? Yeah, he knocked out Mike Tyson. Yes. How could I forget? He put his mouthpiece in backwards.
So there was a whole lawsuit about that we got to work on, but you generally only worked on suits where there was something really big at stake. So Snap-on Tools, you're probably familiar with those guys who sell the tools.
Yeah.
Well, there was a...
Might have had a calendar or two.
Yeah, exactly.
I still have
one, by the way, in my garage. But they got sued by their dealers because they broke up. They figured out that the smaller the number of customers, there's a right level of customers that a dealer should have, because they all want like 400, but you can't serve 400. So if you only had about 100 or 150, the dealers would make more money, and the Snap-on tool company would make more money, right? Because they'd sell more. But when they figured that out and they divided it up, dealers sued them. Dealers said, "No, you're splitting my territory up. I have a right to all these 400." Well, if they had lost that case and they were getting sued all over America, there were just hundreds of millions of dollars at stake.
Oh.
And so we would figure out how to, on one hand, critics would say, you're figuring out how to rig the jury. And we always argued, or now what I believe, we're figuring out how to communicate with the jury in the best way. Understand our audience, meet them where they are, share our story the way they're predisposed to hear it.
No wonder when your people, and you took those skills and now you just transfer that, and you can read your people and see when they're frustrated, or see, body language, whatever that is. How do those skills translate for you think, now?
First, walking into a meeting and knowing that people are predisposed to think a certain way. And it's the rare person, and we work to teach this, that can walk in and go, I am going to be an open book. Mm-hmm. I am going to listen to what the presentation is or what the argument is, and ask questions and be open to that. I mean, that's really, think, because we're wired to make fast decisions. We're wired to try to get to a conclusion, use all that we know. So I know that when we come into a room, that's what they're wired with. And so we've developed even protocols for, okay, great, we know what you want. Now, we flip the roles and say, you got to argue against it. You have to be the presenter against whatever the idea is, opening an office, creating a product, doing something, and argue against it to change the frame of reference. So we've created some protocols based upon how the brain works and how our biases are.
Wow.
We have red, greens, and green teams that argue different things.
And you're basically just disarming or just de-escalating the room before you ever even get to the major conversation, right?
And while encouraging, this is where our culture can feel funny, is huge dissent.
Yeah.
And we want that. We actually tell people, argue, listen as if you are wrong, present as if you are right, which means we want you, when you're presenting, to give us all the things you're passionate about, but then you switch gears and you listen as if you have a mindset that you're wrong, and you're questioning the hell out of the other person.
And these things, sorry to cut you off there, but I imagine you in a room, because I looked up all the big projects you've done. You're doing these when you're thinking about doing a big project. Are you talking through all the things, or what scenario is this applying to? It's pretty impressive.
Right now, we're at a level that we have to reorganize, restructure the entire company. So one of my beliefs, it's actually stronger than the belief, it's just the way it works. Every tripling of people requires a reorganization of a company. And when we studied back our history, it even applies in ours. At five people, that was a very different company. And then we went to 15, they had to restructure. About 50, about 150, about 500, and we're creating a structure that goes to 1,500. But none of us have worked in that. None of us have seen that. So there's very vibrant debate about what that should look like, because to scale that next level is a very different thing. So we have to apply those principles, less about how we operate on a job. Other than there, we spend a lot of energy forming that team and really getting that team to interact and know how to solve problems and know how to dissent and know how to disagree and know, because I'm the project manager in charge, I don't just make the decisions. That team has to buy into where we're going. So we'll use it there, but generally not whether or not we take a job.
Why are you doing it? I'm going to tag back into that. Are you doing that, working on that team and digging in on that team? Is that to avoid injuries on there, to make it more efficient? What's your focus for that? Because you're taking the time to do that, and it costs money to do that too. To build a team, right? To get together.
It seems like it costs money. It's an appearance of costing money. It's saving you a phenomenal amount of money. Right. So if we spend all this energy planning and getting those connections right, that team can execute. It's like the emotional thing we talked about. If you don't solve that emotional, if you don't get those dynamics right, that stuff's going to bubble up somewhere, and it's going to bubble up in poor execution with the customer. If you can have role clarity, all the responsibilities laid out, how they're going to meet each other, and understanding of how each one operates, even a personal connection. We call this thousands, burgers, and beers. I mean, we'll connect over burgers and beers at the end of hard meetings and keep connecting and build that social relationship, so there's a deeper connection that allows them to solve problems.
Dude,
you guys,
hold on. We need tri-tip and troubles around here right now. I'm already thinking.
Yeah, we have tri-tip and troubles.
What were you about to say? You guys, what were you about to say?
I don't know.
Oh, you were on a roll. Yeah.
You probably solve a lot of great problems because you're connected deeper than your job roles, right? Than your partner role, right?
Absolutely. And what you're talking about, we do here, we're just growing into that, right? It takes time and comfortability in your roles and responsibilities, and we're kind of 7 years in, but really in the last 3 years, we kind of grew a lot. We went from, we've talked about numbers, but 300 to 500 to $1 million to 1.5 to $2 million, and those are, but it gets bigger jumps at the higher end, because now you're, like you said, you're adding more people when you add a kitchen, you're adding more people when you do catering, you're adding more people, and that's kind of a bigger impact than selling more beer, continuing your own thing. But we do carve out, in fact, we don't have managers, we have directors of people, directors of pints, directors of possibilities. So we're carving those people out and actually bringing them in on the podcast too to do their own shows. Yeah. And they have to find their way, right? They can't be trying to be, me or you and your company. They have to see that vision and see that I guess that culture that you want to create, but also do it in their own way, right? Have their own personality and their own style.
And you don't want them to be like you.
No.
God, I can only do one of them. We can't have any more.
Only one vibe time.
But it's refreshing to hear, like, you're saying how many times you reorged. We're actually very tiny. We're only 40-something employees, but I think we've reorged this company 7 times.
Yeah.
Like every time we grow a little more, and like you said, we're reorging for the next growth, and that's scary because we don't know yet.
Yep.
But if we can get it fluent and get everyone flowing together, then yeah, bring it on. Let's roll.
And you just inspired me. I know I cut you off. We're going to do lunch with our buddies. We just had new people come in, and we have people who are part-time. You know, they're high school kids. They come in maybe, and they're great. We love them. But they come in and work maybe 2 shifts a week or 1, and they work 4 days a month, right? So we started partnering them with someone who's here 30, 40 hours. And now I think we just give them a free lunch and let them sit down, and they'll be really more apt to make that happen, you know, and sit down and check in on their people. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're people first. I mean, there is a job that we're trying to excel at, but if we excel at being people and connecting, the job gets us so much easier.
Yeah. So stay with the story. I want to keep it rolling.
Well, and I need to say real quick, I love the idea of you have to argue opposite of the point you're trying to bring across.
Yeah, it's great.
I am so using that with my wife this week. I'm telling you that, Darren. She's going to love you. I got this.
Hold on.
And you can say, Daren said. Double D said.
Double D, girl.
D said. Oh, yeah.
If you were me, why was I right?
I love it. So you go work, and you're doing this profiling stuff.
So,
and how the heck do you get back to your company?
So I they were wanting to move me to Houston, and I was living in Chicago, and really fun town. And they fly me down to Houston in August, and it was like late August, and the door of the plane opened up, and I like sucked in air that I could chew. I mean, it was like my lungs just were gone, and I go, yeah, I really don't want to do this. And I was probably also homesick, wanting to come back, wanting to get started on what I wanted to. And it was about the 2-year mark. And it's why we don't let people come back after 2 years. Or we make them stay away. My kids had to stay away longer. So I called my dad up and I go, we don't ever talk about the company. Let's talk about it. Well, we had bid a prison, and I forget the order, but we got one. Then we bid another one and we didn't get it. And we knew we wanted 2, and we got the third one, which made 2. And then the second one, the guy defaulted on it and it came back to
3.
us. And we were not ready for 3. And he kind of was up front. He goes, well, your call's timely, because I'd rather you come home and either help us be successful, or if we go down because we got too much work, you can never blame me.
Yeah. No, we have the scapegoat. You come home.
Yes.
Smart. That's a solid move.
You're
gonna
be
have to do that to the girls, right?
Absolutely.
And so, so I came back in
What year was that?
1990.
Okay.
And
How many employees were there then?
that's a great question. When I came back, we were doing about $12 million a year.
And you were in Bakersfield at that time, or were you in Visalia?
We had an office in Bakersfield, Visalia, and Fresno.
Oh, okay.
Then.
All right.
So all those had been open for quite a while. Visalia was pretty small. And I immediately was really just entrenched in these jobs. I was out on the job site designing productivity tracking. It was a really busy time in the country, and there weren't enough electricians here, so they were coming in from all over. And we had some really bad electricians. There's an organization called Fleas and Bees. The Fleas stand for Fun-Loving Electricians. And they're an association. Their job is to move around the country, get on a big job, slow it down, make it last as long as possible. And if they can bring the country down or the company down, they're for it. And we found out we had the head flea out there, and cool way to make decisions. We pulled some people in the room and said, well, these guys will take us down either way, so we're going to physically remove them. And we had a kind of a big enforcer guy who fired them all and physically had to throw some of them off the job.
Wow.
And what they did, though, the night that was going down, they went and we were building a prison. The conduits are in the wall. They went and took a bolt and dropped them down
Each conduit,
a lot of the conduits in the poured in place walls.
so you can run anywhere.
You couldn't. We had to jackhammer everything out and redo it.
Oh my!
So think of cut. That's how I cut my teeth, was on how bad people could be, right?
Yeah.
How terrible people could be. And yet we had great people that said, okay, we're with you. We're going to stand by it and we're going to get this thing done. And we did.
And this was 90s, 3 prisons. That was 3 strike law back then. So what did we need? More prisons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are
right.
the heavy security, maximum security prisons. And I even have a belief, the psychology of it all. And this is where I said, I don't think we want to build prisons. I think you're building a thing to house a human being. That goes against everything we're about. That's a negative thing to build, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the things we generally build now are exciting and are fun and are positive. And so I just think prisons are just a negative thing to build. So everybody comes out there with kind of a negative attitude, a morose attitude about it.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. So that's where I cut my teeth. And then I worked a very opportunistic career paths. What needed to be done is what I did. And I look back and not always getting tons of direction from my dad. Here's your career path. I mean, with the Gen 4 joining, we have pretty strong career paths. We work on that a lot. Where are you going? How do you get there? All through the company. Here's the process. Here's the skills. Here's your way through. Because we're growing at such a fast rate, we're trying to accelerate people. Didn't have that. You just saw things that needed to be done, and you went and did it. Yeah. Someone terminated an estimating. I went and learned to estimate. We had to fire a manager up in an office in Fresno for values-based issues. He was treating people bad. And I remember we went up and fired him, and my dad nicely said, okay, what are you going to do now? And I go, what do you mean me? He goes, you fired the guy. You got to go run this thing. And so very opportunistic.
Whatever it took.
Yeah.
Yeah. No job was above or below you, and you weren't pretentious about it. You didn't have any high expectations for everyone else. You had high expectations for yourself, right?
And then I would say the real change, I don't know, came 15 years ago, where we were figuring out what did we really want to be. I was figuring out what I wanted to do, what we really wanted to be. I had a group come in and audit us, a group of peers from all over the country, and they kind of gave me the same message. I need to figure out, am I a lifestyle business? Are we going to grow it to grow people? What do we want to do? But that had to be my call. And we call it clearing the fog. Usually we have the answer to our problem. We just can't see it. We have too much fog, right? Yep. So a protocol to clear the fog and let me know and allow me to see what I wanted to do, that's what got us to this growth plan. Grow at the pace we can develop people, but know we have to grow not to make more money, but to develop people to be who they're supposed to be and achieve what they can achieve. And okay, there's this really cool byproduct, which is it becomes a lot easier and you make more money.
Success.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we can tie it to us because we are growing our employees and they're doing a phenomenal job. And now it's almost to a point with our directors where it is time for us to look for another tap room somewhere because we know they can handle it. And 2 years ago, it would have never happened. But I like the way you say that is grow the employees and the next step will fall into place.
And what would you do with some of these folks who are really developing that are the right mindsets if you've now stifled them? What are their options?
They're going to bounce.
Got to go somewhere else.
your own
Or
thing.
they're going to get stagnant. And if they're that motivated, they're going to bounce.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is good, but the big thing is you have to do that. It's like even in a small business, you have to grow people. The famous line was, what if we train people and grow them and then they leave? Well, what if we don't grow them and they stay, right? What if we don't invest in them and teach them to be leaders? So what do you think the core values were? We're into core values. What do you think just your values were when you were taking over this role as CEO? What did you find most important in the people that you were trying to hire? Bring on.
They have to have just a profound respect for people. I mean, you have to care about people first and foremost. And if you have that, it extends to your customers. It extends to everything. Decisions get easier, right? They come from a value-based system. Right and wrong becomes clear. Is it in the interest of the person? If it's not in the interest of the customer and it makes us money, you still say, customer, this is not in your best interest. It's your choice. And the same on the people side. We have a value that we talk about. Well, we know when things go wrong, it's when people put the I over the we, or we put, whenever things don't work, it's because an individual puts himself above the team or above the company. And we constantly work and go, it's company first, then project, and then self. And if not that you should sacrifice your life for the company, but if the decisions are made that way, the interesting thing is the self gets taken care of better. But when we move it, it's about any one individual. It degrades the team. It degrades the company.
How do you identify those people in the interview process?
So some on testing. We do a lot of psychometric testings. We do a lot of putting people in situations. We have a fairly extensive interview process. So there's some great, God, I wish I could remember. There's some great books out there written on talent. And we run folks through a very regimented process. And like most things, we'll have so many people go, why are there so many meetings with so many different people? And we target different things at different times. There is getting their history. There's establishing what their values are. There's actually spending enough time to where they become themselves. And we sometimes even have to almost set up scenarios. We don't do this very often, but I do remember going, I'm going to be in there early to see how he treats the clerk at the desk. There's certain things that matter to me. Mm-hmm. Do you respect everybody, right?
Right.
Those things matter. So therefore you're never arrogant with wait staff. I mean, we look for those things. We had a guy, and I'm probably rambling off on different things, had a guy that a chair swung around and hit his back a couple times in an interview, and he pushed it away, and we go,
oh.
Hell, that's an inanimate object, right?
Yeah. Shoot. That's a red flag.
Yeah.
The old swivel chair test. We're going to add that.
Right. But just a lot of scenarios, a lot of allowing people to be who they are and then talk through scenarios, build trust to learn how they will really handle situations.
You have to train it. We talk about it. It's like, and it is expensive. It costs money to get people together and talk about leadership and, have meetings. Like when we have a meeting with 20 of our people, you're paying them all and they're not making any money because you're doing it when you're closed, but it has to be done. And you have to train like an athlete would for the game, like you need to train that way in practice. And we don't get a chance to talk about our feelings when we're mad or pissed off about something or, how we should treat. We talk about assuming best intentions here, and that means I'm not assuming that Frank didn't assume best intentions on the,
on vacation.
Vacation story.
Still an asshole.
But on the other hand, I didn't notice.
You assumed his true intentions.
Exactly.
I also didn't pay attention that he was on vacation at the time. I'm going to connect those two. But we're working on those types of things because you have to train. It's like funny because athletes, I always use that because they're just trying to be the highest level of performance. The Olympics are going on right now. They have multiple coaches. They have their nutritionist, their weight, coach, weight strength coach. They have, their mental coach. They have their actual, sport coach, their skill coach. And then humans we seem to push back on, well, you want me to read a book? Yeah. Do your people, do they start out that way? Like, what the heck do you mean?
I'm going to give you just one thing. Find the Little Red Book of Talent.
The Little Red Book of Talent. All right.
It breaks. It's a really, in fact, I'll send you over some. It's fantastic on developing people, and it takes it to that level. We want to do before we learn. So did you all play sports?
Oh, yes.
So, baseball. They don't go, hey, it's a baseball game, go out there and play. Get in there and hit. You practice all these little skills over and over and over. But in business, we frequently don't think we should do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll take an estimator and we go, okay, you're just going to do this part. Well, no, I want to do the whole thing. Well, that's like sending you into the football game and you've never practiced anything, right? So we actually had to rethink it and break it down and explain to people, no, you're going to do sections until you're really good. And then we're going to add on the next thing.
Yep.
Then we're going to add on the next thing. And we were failing in growth at one point because we were to bring a person in and kind of trial by fire. Well, you just got to figure all this shit out.
Yeah, throw them in. And
People can't. I mean, it works. In
fact,
super
people like it that way because then there's really no level of accountability.
Yeah.
There's not really any expectation because nobody really taught me. And they just fall in and they just mediocrity. Here I go.
But they're a person who likes that environment is actually not generally one that's going to excel.
No.
Right? And we've had to revamp all that, just our thought process. But some people it drives them crazy because what makes it happen? You actually have to be accountable for learning and performing. And there's a step-by-step process. But once you're in it, you go, oh, this really works. And we always take it back to the sports analogy, which is, how'd you learn to play football? You didn't go in and play the game on day one.
Wow. So you took this company, to keep that story, I want to round it out for the people listening, and you come in, and how do you get to be the CEO? You just keep working, you're doing whatever it takes, and you decide this is what I'm going to do. I want to do this.
And so I probably got, fortunately, my dad probably won't hear this podcast, so it's good. I actually was named at the highest decision-making position, probably in my mid-30s or 40s. I would argue I didn't ever achieve that position till COVID. And my dad, as good as he was, his dad died on him, so he didn't have a model of a transition. And so that was, you are running it, except I veto and change it when you want, which is, I think,
tough.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Tough.
And it was a gift to me to make, because we don't make the mistakes of our parents, right? We make the mistakes of our grandparents and above. That'll be a mistake I won't make. I'll make a bunch of other mistakes as I transition the company. But when COVID came, he shut down and it allowed me to truly run the company, of which is what allowed him to go, hey, it didn't fall apart.
Yeah.
It flourished. I had dinner with him last night and he sort of said, yeah, I probably should have made that call a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And I go, well, you had to coordinate with the Chinese to release that virus sooner.
So you got to do your thing and kind of take it, take on the reins, and he kind of acquiesced and believed in you and trusted you, huh?
And I always feel he did. But how you manage just the brewery will be different than how you manage when all three of these buildings are open. When you open your next one, that's going to be a very different mindset, right? And I think you guys have the right mindset on how you empower people already. But when you move from making every decision, and you actually like we cared what was in the scrap pile, how you reuse this piece of pipe. All that mattered when the company was younger. We would like all that to be done the same way, but you can't manage that. That's not your biggest problem anymore. Your biggest problem are these other things that you should be fixing.
Right.
And it was always hard for him to look and go, well, that guy's not busy. Well, you're right. He's probably not busy, but that's not what we call our workstation D. That's not the barrier to what we're trying to do. Yes, it'd be nice if someone would direct him, but we need to go fix these other things. That was a hard mental transition for him to make.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because he made every decision.
Yeah. And he can't fix every machine and make sure every scrap pile is organized. And
I leave on my desk, there's this massive explosion-proof compression coupling. And I keep it on my desk. It's just a reminder. And there's a note taped from him. Found this in the scrap pile. This cost $495.
Love it.
And it's not bad. It's
No.
awesome. But I keep it on there of saying, what am I looking at that is that same type of thing that someone else should be looking at?
Yeah.
You know, because I know I'm doing some of those same things.
Right? Oh, yeah.
We all do, right? We all do. He is making you better at the same time. So it's how you guys get together. But at some point, you're like all of us. You're just hoping he comes in and says, "Hey, you're doing a kick-ass job," you know. And but
That won't happen.
I'm gonna tell you if
Go
I
ahead.
can digress,
Yeah, hell yeah.
because my daughter who's been listening walked out of the room. I actually had dinner with him last night, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time, and that's because he's just doing his own thing. And I explained to him that, you know, it as much as great as you think the company is going, and I know you're proud and all that. Here's a reality. People always need a parent.
Yeah.
And I said, and I'm okay either way, but sometimes I just want to share stuff with you. It might just be for affirmation. But as much as you think the company is going great, you're still a father. And what I've realized, even with my kids working in the business, there's always the need for affirmation from a sibling or from a child to a parent.
I love it.
Yeah, so I don't
Frankie,
know
what do you think
why that's
about
going
that?
out there.
Hold on,
No,
I want to
that's
see
good.
what Frank thinks about that.
No, it's good
Right?
because, yeah, absolutely. I have kids at home, and the affirmation piece is hard because they want to tell you stuff, and you want to be like, what are you doing, you knucklehead? But you also have to let them grow and understand and listen to the path that they want to go down. It's not the path that I may have chosen, but as long as you're happy and you want to be successful, it's I'm proud of you. My morals, we call it the meal. Moral, ethical, and legal, I'm behind you all the way. And so, yeah, it's good to hear that.
How old are your kids?
What do we got? We got 21, 17, and 16.
So which ones have fired you?
All three of them. Multiple times.
Yeah. So I love it. And this is what people forget. And you know it when it happens. You're the CEO of the household, and then they fire you as CEO.
Yeah.
And what do they do immediately? They hire you back as consultant.
Yeah. We call it advisor.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but you're not allowed. You can't tell them what to do anymore. You have to, if they ask you for your input, you can share it, and they choose to do what they want.
100%.
And you can watch that. And I always think of what the consultants have let me do wrong things. And they go, oh, yeah, no, we shared it with you. You just made the
chose not to
choice.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm on advisement. Absolutely, Darren. I just advise, and what they want to do, we'll see where you go.
And Daren, as you took over back to the, transitioning the CEO, did you find that there were, I've talked to other people who've taken over family businesses. Did you find that there were people who stayed with your dad and were like, your dad did things better? And did you meet any of that resistance through the transition?
So, yes, and we do that with every change, though, right? With every change that is made, there's a group that wants to hold back.
Yeah.
Process of change, loss. You go
Change
through
is
loss,
hard.
even great change. You go through loss, right? Distrust, discomfort.
Yep.
Before we make a choice, then we re-engage and we go through the other side. It doesn't matter what the change is. Those loss, distrust, and discomfort, they can happen quickly, but you're going to go through them all. Right? We just bought a huge piece of property and a neat building, and it's perfect for us. And I made the call, and everybody loved it. And yet I immediately went through loss. God, I kind of like where we are. I'm out there. And yet I knew I made the decision, and I still went through loss and then the distrust. Well, what's going to be with everybody working together? We moved from 4 pieces of property to 1. I went through that same loss, distrust, discomfort. So there are always people that said that, but what I knew was that isn't a statement about my father or I. That's a statement of change.
Yeah. About their, not insecurity is always like an attacking word. Their uncertainty of what's next, right? Where they fit into things.
What am I going to do, and where do they fit in?
Do you value me? Am I going to get the same respect that I had before? Is my role going to continue? Will I get growth opportunities? Those are the bridges we're always trying to.
And we associate
create.
it with that decision of the person changing, but those things were always there anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
What is my role going to change anyway? Even if my dad hadn't left, what were the changes that were going to happen? But we associate them with that outside thing.
So to the pints piece, your craft, I think I have a good idea, but I want to hear it from you. Through all the AC electric, through all the things that you've done, through the CEO stuff, the company's doing well. What is your craft?
Me personally or the company?
Both. Hit us with both. You personally first.
So I believe what I do is connect people, chart a vision, really work to build people to be better than what they can see that they can be, right? Help people achieve what they're really destined to be. That's a lot of my craft. Building leaders.
Where did this passion come from? Do you think it was this psychology down in UCLA? You kind of dove into that? Like to build people, like that's a rare thing to actually call that your craft. Like I want to build leaders. I want to better people all the time.
But these things can go so many directions. So I have this cool thing that I'm trying to get even into our company. I have a private board of directors that I've met with for 20 years. So I meet with them minimum once a month. We have a protocol that we go through. We don't solve each other's problems. We reflect. We do all this stuff that they get to know you really, really well. And I actually have two of them, one with people all over the country, one with people in Bakersfield. And they've helped me figure out to clear the fog, to know what I'm really about. And it's awesome because I'll present things and they can call my bullshit.
Right.
They go, yeah, okay, we've only been meeting with you for 25 years and you're lying to yourself right now. So let's work through what the truth is. And then I think it was somewhat the psychology, and then it was just what made me happy, right? I mean, even in college, I'd go to the beach with the gal and she'd always laugh. She'd go, you're down there playing with a kid. Well, this kid's growing and developing, trying to build a sandcastle or figure out the waves. And watching people grow is just what I gravitated toward. And being okay with that rather than, the hard part was being okay with it, was figuring that out and going, no, I don't have to be what other people did. I can do things from rooted in that, right? And the gift of having your own company is you can execute from the strengths that you really believe you have. Like that wouldn't work for other people that want to tell people what to do.
Right.
So I'm going to reel me back in when you want to reel me back in. So
why am I smiling right now, Frank?
I have
this guy's like talking to me.
There's
and
a
I
mirror
wish I
right
was
here.
you. Like, I'm not saying we have the same passion, you know, and I think that's why we connect. Just listening to you, I'm like, yeah. And in fact, I'll tag on. I believe in it so much in you and what you're saying, you know, just by your authentic way, the way you present yourself, the compassion you have, the caring, those skills can transfer to any business. You can sell anything. I really believe that, you know, and you just triggered something. That's why I was smiling and you looked at me. I had a lot of things that we traveled through and went through. And when we got our own business here, Frank and Martha are very linear, step 1 through 10 thinkers. They're just, you know, they're the greatest at, if something needs to get done, Frank will sit here and make sure it's done. Martha, it will get done. You know, me, I'm like you. I'm running around talking to everyone. I'm like, we got this great party. I don't know how to execute it, but I have people who help me and believe in me, and we both do the same. And when you said you get the opportunity having your own business to execute that in your own way, you just made me smile. I kind of went in my own world, which was like, here's the way we want to treat people. Here's the way we want to treat each other. Here's the, you know, this is the behaviors we want to have in this organization, and let's read some books and talk about it. And that was the first time that I had the opportunity, because these guys, you know, appreciate me and allow me to do it, to just go crazy with culture and people and caring about each other. And not that they don't, but it's just my forte, you know, and they know that's just pretty impressive. And especially do it on a large scale and continue to do it with as many people as you have. You have hundreds of team members.
And we talked a lot about how are we going to permeate that through
all the way.
And
how do you do that?
Right now we don't have enough. So we've grown quickly and we're like a 1 to 10 ratio. And we know to develop that the management we need, we actually need to move it to about 1 to 5, which was so, in a steady state business, the ratio of workers to, we call them sport people, but managers can be about 1 to 10. If you're going to grow and embed culture, you actually got to really reduce those. Yeah. And when we weren't growing, that was how you stayed lean and mean and made a lot of money. When you're going to grow, we got to change that. Where we're building out that middle management layer a lot better, which is counter to people. They're going, why are we putting all these people in place, right? Because as we grow, we got to be able to connect with newer and newer people to engage them in those values and to spend the time. Otherwise they'll be dictated by the new people coming in.
Yep, because any group of people who get together for a common goal are going to form their own culture. We're either going to, you guys like us, all of us, we're either going to teach it or we're going to allow it to happen in our parking lots. We're going to allow it to happen in the lunchroom. We're going to allow it to happen, outside of our walls. And so we want to make sure that we're in there digging in.
Yeah, culture's not what we write on the board. It's the level of behavior that we accept.
Yeah.
Sort of that worst
standard
level.
Yep.
Pat Hill, you're either teaching it or you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
He'd come by the football practices and go, did you teach the DN to have that technique? No. And, he said, then you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah. We, I think a year ago we had to let go of a long-term employee. Did it very humanely and correctly. And someone said, how do you feel about that? Why? How do you let go of someone that's worked here for 19 years? And I said, that's not the question. The question is, for the last 15 years, we knew they would never be successful here. So why did we allow them? Why were we dishonest with them and allow them to exist here?
Yeah.
Because if you cared about them, you'd actually, Those are behaviors we have the same. You don't talk about, if you have to whisper, you shouldn't be talking about it. We want to honor those people not present in the room, because if you care about them, we have to teach people here, even in a smaller environment, we would just go talk to the people and let them know. If we're frustrated, talk to the person who frustrates you. Those types of things you're talking about. Yeah, we could go on forever.
It's low trust, high trust. Absolutely.
And it's missing in society. So the cool thing, if you can start a company with those things and have it in your company, it will feel awkward to some.
It will feel awkward, yes.
But the healthy people that you really want, it will be like freeing.
Yeah. Life-saving.
It's a magnet.
Yeah. And it draws in other people. And we have to get the culture where we know what sinks culture, which is somebody going to someone and saying, hey, Daren, he's crazy. Yeah. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That reaction from that other person is the critical piece, which is, if they say, man, you should go talk to Daren yourself. That changes the behavior rather than sympathy group. You're absolutely right. This company's horrible. And, people just dig in on this. If you're looking for sympathy, people want to give it. And we're arming our people not to allow that to happen.
And then one step even further up, I think, is if that person said, hey, let's go talk to Frank together. I'll go with you if you feel that way.
Yeah.
I'll be by your side, but let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go engage
both
them.
You come talking about on vacation. I can't wait.
Heck yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. So what's the company's craft? I'm going to let you have a sip of beer. You want another one there?
I've never turned a beer down in my life.
Go. What's the company? So your company, let's take us through just a brief synopsis of what you guys excel at. What's your craft? What do you do?
So we're electrical contractors. We excel in really difficult projects. We work best when we're involved in the kind of the conception of a project where we can add value. As in the really complicated, we can value engineer it. We can design it with them. We can figure out where the problems are before construction begins. And then we actually get into these things. We've sometimes had projects where we'll be more expensive, but we'll shave 6 months off the process plant. And we actually map out for them why this makes them so much more money.
Because in return, they're up and running and making money. Yeah.
And we have a track record of doing that. So we really, just like we do with our employees, we look for customers that we can collaborate with, that have something difficult, but they're not going to just approach it. We'll tell you the schedule. We'll tell you what to do. And when we hear that, we go, yeah, this is going to be a problem. We want to collaborate with them. So
are you mostly design build?
we're trying to move it from about 40% to 60%. And then it gets crazy because there's true design build, right? Where your contract is a design build contract. Then there's those that aren't really considered design. There's design assist in a formal manner where we're evaluating everything and giving our recommendations. And then there's those that we spend a lot of energy where we don't design, but we plan it. And we help with the sequencing and how to build it and change the order of operations to deconflict the various trades and the manpower shortages. But then there's those that aren't technically a design build, but where they say, we got this problem, or we want to build this thing, can you do it? I mean, that's the truest design build, but
absolutely.
it's not a design build contract. We're just part of who that process plan is. So I'm rambling through what we're good at, and we're good at really collaborating with customers, finding the issues before they happen, and then executing. I mean, we just can execute.
Get shit done.
Yeah, it's a thing we talk about our Friday letters. We feed up to the customer. Here's everything that occurred on your job this week. Here's what the issues are.
Awesome.
Not as a way to say you're screwing us. Here's the problems that aren't solved yet. Here's the things we still need answers on. It does twofold. One, it just improves communication and improves the flow, and the customer's got to ask us if we don't give that to them. And then on the adverse side, it's not intended to document the problems, but it documents the problems.
100%.
But the reality is it also fixes them, right?
That's a great way to say it. It's not intended to document the problem, but it does document, as a byproduct. And you're like, hey, we continue to talk about these things. Here's what's going on.
It's like you're
full transparency.
Yeah,
right?
It's like you're doing something that your wife hates, right?
All the time.
But I know. But she doesn't tell you. She just gets pissed about it, right? That's the same thing. I'd rather have you just tell me, and you may have to tell me like every week.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing this Friday note thing at my house. I got to go on the weekend feeling good.
Just so you know, though, there is one thing I've learned. It only goes one way.
100%. But I'm going to use that strategy. Are you like, I was right, honey? I just want to hear it.
I would like you to argue the other side now. I love your first argument. All right, possibilities. So what do you? Let's talk about the vision. What's coming next? What you're excited about?
We're just growing. We've doubled down on talent. We saw the talent problem coming a long time ago, and we thought we were out ahead of it, and we just doubled down on it again. So we're just about building these project teams and people, and we know how we're executing, and so we're being sucked into some areas. We're more and more operating all over California. I imagine within the next 2 years, we'll have another. In fact, I know within the year we'll have another office down on the east side of LA, so that Riverside. We're about to break ground on the largest water project that's been built in California since the aqueduct.
Wow,
which is kind of fun because we did the aqueduct.
Of course you did. That's awesome. You did the aqueduct.
Hold on, you did that cool river I want to float down all the way to Bakersfield?
that canal. Go through the little locks and things.
Oh yeah, I see it.
And that's actually part of our DNA because nobody had done that.
Yeah, huge project.
We didn't do the whole thing.
That was the Central Valley project, like coming down this way.
Do you have a vault of like just old plans from over 80 years? All these projects you've done.
We did, and lots been purged. Some's been saved. We're about to go through another purging, and they've sent it to me 4 times. Well, we're going to get rid of everything. I'm going, no, stop. Someone has to look for those unique projects, right? So I'll digress into that. Last time we did that when we moved was 15 years ago, and I actually had them set all the boxes up, and it sounds crazy, and I went through every box. We won't do that. But I knew there were some nuggets in there that I wanted to find. I found in my grandfather's handwriting notes of when we were in trouble in the 60s. He would drive a car or a truck down to the Ford dealership, sell it to them, walk back with cash, and pay people. And so I have this list of his notes of when he did what truck and what that. And, someone would look at that and go, oh, that's 50 years. Throw that shit out, right?
That's pretty
And
cool.
most people would have quit at that point.
Yeah.
Sure
You're
would
gonna
have.
walk down and take care of my or my company. Yeah, that's very cool.
So we have a lot of that, and we're about to go, because we're about to move again. We'll go through that purging, and I think I'm going to hand it some back to my kids. We got to purge. A lot of stuff we don't need. A lot of stuff's online now, but we have to make sure we're not throwing those nuggets of the last 10 years out.
Can you, as a favor, is there anything cool you can get us from a cool project
That we can put
it
on
our
this wall right here behind the.
We bring
something
everybody
small.
that's been on our podcast. We want something on the wall from.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if it's just one little note, we'll put in a little case or something.
Yeah, that's
Done.
cool.
Yeah,
I
that'd
love
be
it.
cool.
That's history of California.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what's the? I love the mindset stuff. What do you think the mindset is that has propelled you to success this far? And your team.
Great question. Ask that again. Buy me some time. Rephrase it. I'm thinking.
Okay. Just things happen and challenges occur. Obstacles are in your way. Success can also make you think that you're better than you are. So what is that mindset that you think?
Yeah. First, there's nothing that is either good or bad. It just is. So what we do with it makes it good or bad, right? I mean, that's one. We have stuff. You go, really? That guy just did this? And what we're trying to teach people is you say, great, we didn't get that job. Great. We got that job. Great. So-and-so quit. Great. I mean, everything is actually truly an opportunity. A mindset shift that's really happened. Back in 2020, we mapped out a growth plan and why. And it was fun because everybody goes, yeah, that's kind of neat, but that ain't happening. Right? I mean, that doubt that we all have, and that over time they've now started realizing it's a whole lot of, you can do about anything. It's a whole lot of small steps, right? And it's picking the first one. Right? When we say we're going to be $250 million in 5 years, we were a $48 million company. Right? And it wasn't focusing on the number, but that seems crazy.
Yeah.
Until you. And we did it through COVID, right? When everything fell apart. But now people understand that you just break down that animal into these small things. Yeah. And it's not the big step, it's the next step.
It's building the momentum.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
And I always think, if you don't know what to do, the first step is still too big. Just make it smaller. Just keep making that next step smaller until you can take it. And then you start moving forward. Your question was, I think I'm moving away from it, was mindset, values. What do people think?
Yeah, just that was it. The mindset.
Build people. It all starts with the people. So always focus on that. If there's a task that has to be done, you got to get that task done. But if there's somebody that needs something, you start with the people. That overrides everything, because that's your fastest way to solving more things.
How will you know you made it?
Have you ever made it?
And why have you not made it now?
No, I'm saying it's there's always that next step. It's that baby step, that next step.
Frank, you want to get in on that one?
When,
huh?
Yeah. When do you say?
Do you
you're
ever
done?
make it?
Yeah.
Do you ever make it? Is it always?
What would making it be to you? I don't know. I guess we're all talking to each other right now.
But why don't you feel like in this very moment, like I'm on a podcast. I'm talking to you guys.
You made it.
Yeah, I made it. Right. But I've made it for this very moment. Right.
Son of a bitch. You're right.
You're right.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same, right? And what is it? Karma is not, it's not what you do now shapes the future. They really see it as the things you have done in your life have led you to the moment that you're in right now.
Yep.
And this is pretty cool.
And even the screw up failures, right? Those are the things that we have to do to become the person that we're supposed to be to get to this very point that we're here.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you nailed it, because when you came, you were so intriguing that when we were starting you're just you know, but I'm like, man, we got to get this guy on. I got to know this story. I got to hear the stories behind, because as we see, and I know you get this probably just being the grandson and the son of people who started the company, there's a lot of freaking work that goes into these things, and nothing in life is given, and everybody's story is unique, and that's kind of a blessing to have you.
What do they say? Every overnight success story is built upon 10 years of just
Grinding.
backbreaking, grinding, failures. And it's, I mean, I look and what we're breaking through now is unbelievable. And I sit with my kids who can only see the problems that we're in. I'm going, oh, no, these aren't problems. These are the challenges we got to go through to become exactly who we're going to be. But they just can see them as, we got to fix this, right?
Yeah. Well, and they inserted at level, I'm making this up, but 7. You started at level 5, your dad started at level 3, and your grandpa started at level 0, right? And so you're continually, it might be more stressful because each time you guys show up, you got to raise the bar,
right?
Yeah. And that's a big expectation.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Frank, well, I think we kicked some ass this time.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm inspired. I don't know how you are. It's like hanging out with two of us.
I just talked to two riches. And that is a compliment, Daren.
So tell me, what drives you?
Give Frankie. Yeah. Hit us with a couple questions. Jenna's here too. She's doing 2.0. She made fun of us last time, and it was a hit. So she can help us out again. Yeah.
And I did homework.
Hit us with some questions you have about us. You run.
I asked it. What drives you?
Go, Frankie. I want to hear from him. I talk all the time.
What drives me is I think it's every day I don't want to settle. I know what my standard is, and I think to reflect the on vacation like that, I took that personal because I shouldn't have ran out of beer. Even though it's a win because we sold out of beer. But in my mind, no, I should have never done that.
That's really how you're reframing that whole thing?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the story you're telling yourself?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Darren,
Hold on, crush
I don't have a personal
Darren,
board,
we
dude.
love
Don't
this.
be
Yeah,
my
crush
personal
us.
board.
You got a few minutes just to get after it. Go right now. Go.
It's just, I want to be better every day. That is my goal. That's always been. I want to be in the top 1%, whatever that is. And I put that on myself, but I also welcome that. I enjoy that. And if I don't make it, that's okay because I know I will get there.
So who do you look up to? Who do you see as in their top 1%? That's at the top of their game.
As in business, or
I'll let you define that.
I look.
I mean, other than he and I.
Well, yeah.
Rather
top
than your role
1%
model.
And your wife.
10%. Yeah. No, definitely my family. I'm so grounded in my family. I also reflect a lot on the military, a lot of very elite units out there that do a lot for this country that I absolutely love. I see the struggles and I've heard the struggles and I've gone through some of those struggles and I remember that and I instill that in every day. A lot of people can be like, man, I'm going to quit on this or this is too much. And to me, it's like, throw me a challenge. Like, I love a challenge. That's where I feel that's where I thrive. Throw me something off and I want to fix it. So my kids call me the Tinker Fairy because if there's anything wrong, Dad's going to put all his focus into it until it's right.
I don't think that's the nickname he led with.
No, it sure isn't. Well, they got some of my kids.
We'll go
Well,
with the dabbler.
yeah, we'll go with the dabbler.
Because he doesn't commit to anything. He just hides. No, he commits. That's not a knock. He hides. He keeps himself just far enough away that he can do his thing, and you don't really
I enjoy
want
the
to ask
shadows.
him. Yeah,
that's why I like to blend with the curtains. And
Your face is kind of showing that same
so,
color.
yeah, absolutely, because you got me on the spot. But
How'd you guys connect? Are you guys lifelong friends? Did you-
No,
Not at all.
We met in the school district.
Are you even
here.
friends?
We
not
are
at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are. My bad.
Ow.
No, we worked in the school district. What, 12 years ago together?
Yeah, we
First
started.
time met him
Both
and-
of us kind of the same feeling. We wanted to come over. My wife and I, we didn't know each other before we came here, and we were working in education and master's degrees in education and all sorts of things like you, and loved it. And I love the Central Coast, so my wife and I decided to come over. And Frank was here, came over right after that, and we met in the school district. And we were doing great. It was great. And Frank one day said, I think I want to start a business on my own. I just want to do something. And he was talking about a coffee shop, which we kind of told the story, before, but not as in depth. And I just said, I have a friend who makes beer and he's made breweries and he is like us. He's one of us, like you recognize those people. And do you want to start a brewery? And he said, hell yeah, I don't know anything about it. And I said, well, you can fly up and see him. And he did. And he came right back and said, let's do it. And we refinanced our house and did everything it took and started
it's
that.
during you surround yourself by great people. Like they're going to keep helping you rise. And
But you still went into business with them.
I sure did. Absolutely. There's some yin and yang here, man.
Oh, yeah. We all kick out. Well, you've been around Martha, too. We are elite in what we do, not because we think we're better than people, because we absolutely, every one of us is pushing each other every single day. We're only comfortable, and we're building our team the same way to be a good team, is we're only comfortable in honest feedback, trying to get better, the pursuit of we're never really trying to be on top of the mountain, because that's the worst part, right? The end of the story is the worst part, because you got to start over. It's that continued climb of like, can we do this better? Can we help our people? Can we train them? Can they own their own businesses? That's the beautiful part.
And that goes to, that's the challenge with the question, how do you know when you've made it, or how do you know you've been successful? Because that focuses on some in the thing as opposed to the journey.
Right.
Correct.
The process.
And the journey is enjoying the hell out of what you're doing, because there's always something more. So if you're not enjoying how you're getting to where you're going, who cares when you get there? Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the only thing
It's always a letdown. Oh, so now I'm here.
I'm done now.
It is a letdown. How about the day after the Super Bowl is over, that championship team, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Let's get ready for next year, right?
They're selling the team in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you know that you could work together, that you were right? Oh, you had worked together before, but starting a business together is a whole different animal. So were there doubts? Were there fears? Did you establish ground rules on how you'd handle issues, or how'd you do it? Or did you just go in? And go,
I
"Let's
think
go for it"?
to me, we just dove in. I mean, this place was a little bit of a questionable property, and I was here every day, and guess who else was here every day? Right here. We were demoing together, putting stuff together, helping electricians, plumbers, whoever it was, not only helping, but Rich and I were right there in the trenches with them to learn from it. Like, we knew if we could figure out how to do electrical or plumbing, then we don't have to call somebody.
Right.
So we just kept working together, and every day I was here, he was here.
So you're going after my business too. I just
Absolutely.
established.
My electrical techniques will probably put AC.
Yes, Yachty. I wouldn't bring him in for that. Yeah. But he'll deliver beer like a mofo.
Oh,
and
all day,
people
all
love
day.
it. Well, for me, Frank, what impressed me, because I had asked a lot of people to start a brewery. I started in Kingsburg teaching, 2003. Central Unified over there on the west side of Fresno for a long time. I did a great job. I loved it there. Worked all the way up to the district office. And along that way, I told a bunch of people that I want to start a brewery, because my good friend growing up, he owned them and he'd help me. He was a consultant. And nobody had ever just said, hell yeah, I want to know about this. And then he booked a flight and flew there in the next day, in the next week or so. It wasn't that long of a time. And then he quit immediately. And the funny part is, he said, he came back and said, we're doing this. And I said, cool. He made me nervous because he had already said, no, I'm quitting now. Like, I'm quitting my job. We had great jobs, because fully $150,000 a year, full pensions. If you just wait 30 years, you're gonna
Monetarily,
make,
they were great jobs.
Right.
well, you know what I mean, and they're still great jobs, but he said, no, I'm done. Let's go. I'm quitting right now. And I said, well, shoot, I might need to keep this one so we can pay if you're all in. And he goes, no, you're quitting now. Like, we're quitting. You told me.
We're burning these fucking boats if we're doing this.
Yes, that's right.
Let's go.
Burn that bridge. We're only going forward.
We're going.
And what impressed me about him is every meeting we ever came to, it wasn't lost on me. He had this notebook that he still has, and he gets pissed when people write on his yellow pad. But step 1 through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, every time this guy showed up, He just went down the list. Done, 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 done. And, you know, he's like, okay, can I go? Like, my shit is always done. It's always done. Or if it's not done, it's going to be done. And here's the time frame that's going to be done in. And so that's not a hard person to sign up for. Yeah. You know, and he didn't do it in an arrogant way. He wasn't an asshole about it. He was just like, you asked me to do these 12 things. These 12 things are completed.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So why does the samurai only wear armor on his front? Oh, I thought you were going to roll that right back to me. Because they're only going to move forward.
Absolutely.
They're only going to move forward. That's actually.
I almost made that sexual, but yes, they're only moving forward.
I don't know why I want to share that. You know what I mean? So when was the time you guys were closer to saying this is not going to work? This business that we may need. When were you second guessing it?
Daren, you want to know? I don't think, me personally, there was a time.
There was not one, yeah.
There was not. I mean, even COVID hit, and we joke, always stay in your karate stance. We made some changes. We had the downstairs, and I mean, through community relations with Rich and Martha, people kept coming, and it was, I think we're going to make this. And right now, I mean, no joke, wineries are struggling, breweries are struggling. There's not a night, and maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't lose sleep because I see what we've created. People keep coming, and as long as we can take care of them and have a decent product for them, how long has beer been around?
That's right.
Right?
I mean,
like, it's gone through some swings, so I can't say I was ever like, oh man, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I think the thing for me is personally, I know if you stick to your values, you work hard, we work hard, and you're good to people, and you just try and try and try and try and admit failure. And so even when we were down to $1,000, I knew at worst, like your worst case scenario is you lose what you have and you lose your house and things like that. And my wife and I, and Frank's the same, we knew that was okay because we're going to be fine. Like someone like you, if I'm good to you and you believe in us, there's no loss in humility here. Like I'll just call you and say, I really need a job and I'll do whatever it takes.
It doesn't change who you are.
No,
once people, I think a peaceful feeling is to understand that if it all goes away, it doesn't change who you are.
No.
Don't be tied to those things. Then you're free to make really cool decisions that move you forward.
And we're not materialistic. We're not into that. It's very family focused, and let's get together with our friends and drink beer. So work to me is just kind of family and life,
right? Which
is very special to me. And we've gone through the education, the military, the coaching, all that stuff where it was all great. It kind of created who we are. But now to me, you can call it retirement. This is fun for me.
Neat.
And he barely pays me, but
we're restructuring your contract.
That's only because you drink so much.
He pays me in alcohol. Fair enough.
No, actually, he's making like $5 million a year. Once you subtract the beer, the beer tab loss.
And the fun. I mean, there's a fun tax too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
When did you start it with knowing that above the economics, above all these things, we're going to make it based on the people and the values and the behaviors and those connection points, and the other stuff will take care of itself? Or did you learn that? Did that come out of your education models? Did it come out of just who you are? I mean, it's almost flipping what you've been asking me about.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
What do you want to say, Frank?
I want to say it was always about the people. This guy is a magician. He's very good with culture, making people feel very welcomed, growing people, even staff, everything. I learn a lot from him with that. And I firmly believe that it was about the people when we started this. And we brought a lot of people over from what we used to do, and this has kind of become Paso's little hub. like they enjoy it here. They're taken care of. It's kind of past those cheers, you know. I can go there and I'll know somebody, and if not, they're gonna know this guy and they're gonna hang out with this guy. You don't know how many times, Daren, will sit there. I need a new roof. Oh, I got a guy. Or plumbing. I got a guy. And everyone here
cool.
just shares. And I'll get phone calls. Hey, you know anybody at the brewery that can do plumbing? Oh, yeah, we got 3 guys. So this is just kind of a very special spot. And it's surrounded around beer. What better is that?
Right.
Yeah, I think that I would only echo, we did make a mistake in the beginning because I am the guy that cares the most about like trying to build a culture and the values and the actions. But I realized in the middle of it during COVID, we started in the beginning looking for people who were maybe in this industry because we didn't have the skills, kind of like you talked about. Not that we weren't good at what we did, but we hadn't, been bartenders and things like that. And what we quickly learned, we made a mistake. We started to hire people based upon skills and things like that, rather than hiring people. You can't teach nice, right? You can't teach resilience. You can't teach the ability to say, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, I apologize. And you can loosen it up a little bit, but if people are dug in, it's very hard.
We hired
like you
bad
said.
habits.
And we hired, and people brought their backpacks in. And the backpack said, well, this is, what are you pulling out of there that, well, this is where somebody wronged me, so now I do whatever I want. This is where I was a manager at a place, and I'm better than everyone else, and I tell people what to do. And so we just gathered those things and put them back in their backpack and sent them out and said, okay, we want to bring people in who they reach in their backpack and they say, this is the time that somebody helped me, and I want to help someone else. This is the time that I struggled, and I realize that I want to be here, and I want to commit to this. This is the time that, I helped someone else, and the joy of my life was seeing them progress, even at my expense sometimes. And so we switched that, and we realized, and it actually grew into now we work with companies to help them. We said, forget that. Let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the roots of the tree. Let's start with our behaviors and actions. And we just started to define actionable things that we're going to do. When we're frustrated, we're going to go talk to the person who frustrated us or someone who can help. We're going to have clean bathrooms. We're going to say hello and goodbye to everyone. And we said, can we all agree to that? Is this
Agreements.
something that we can
Reduce them
believe
to
in?
agreements.
Right? And so as we started to build that, we reversed it, like you said, flipped it on its head. Everybody wanted to start with the initial is, we want to be the greatest, the most, we want to produce the greatest pints on the West Coast of America and be the cleanest brewery and, have the best facility around. And instead we flipped it and took those behaviors that we found valuable. We found some core values: people, pints, possibilities. Beer brings us together. People keep you coming back. Possibilities is that, mindset. We choose to believe that, we took an old auto shop and made it into a community. And then from there, we finally revealed ourselves to, ourselves, which is we bring people together and leave them better. We have a podcast that's not about beer. We don't sit on here and talk about the greatest pints and the things like that. We talk about the people who are out there struggling, grinding, growing, raising their kids to be another generation in an 80-year-old company, us trying to do the same, and then success leaves clues. Let's try to learn from everybody. So
Great line. Success leaves clues.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
We just don't look at them all the time.
Right. Yeah.
We look at Daren. Some people look at you and say, you're lucky. They look at us and say, you're lucky. Oh, you have a brewery. They miss all the things underneath there.
That ain't luck. It's hard work.
It's
Fucking hard. I hate that. You're lucky.
every day. I wish I could do that. You can.
Yeah.
Do it right now.
Yeah.
But are you willing to do all that? This is what people miss. Are you willing to do all that it takes?
Yeah.
Nick Saban said everybody wants to be the beast, but they don't want to do what the beast does.
Yes.
Right? So
It's that comfort zone.
well, we appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate all you do.
Darren, this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Enjoyed
you
it.
so
I
much.
appreciate you. And
Last words, Frank?
I got to tell you, as an educator, I always ask my students, what are you going to be when you grow up? And, you get it all. Electrician, astronaut, lawyer, whatever it is. But not one has ever said, I want to help people better themselves, and I want to help them be leaders. And so that's why I kind of asked you where that passion came from. And it's pretty amazing if you can have the kindness and compassion to help other people. You're not only benefiting them, but it's going to directly reflect in the company. So that's a huge piece that Rich does very well with, and it's just kind of cool to hear it between you two. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you. It was an honor. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to work together moving forward too. We this is a relationship. We got to get our people, get some of your leaders to talk to our directors, and bring a few people over here.
Hey,
talk about leadership. We'll go over to you, whatever you want to do. Yeah,
I love it. That'd be great. Because someone has to deliver a couple of cases of beers.
Yeah, and we're making some beer. We're making some beer for this guy. We got some good stuff coming. Martha said, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
We do.
Injecting your hard-earned money into our business, and we want to say we have a lot of gratitude for that. You could be anywhere, you could be spending your money anywhere, and you work damn hard for it, and we know that. And you helping us and doing business with us also helps us, and we get to put that money right back into our people, and so we're grateful for that as well. So, cheers!
Awesome,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Cheers!
Right,
Yeah,
here you go.
Good. Yeah, I still have some.
That's all right. I know where there's more too.
Yeah, all right. We'll get you some more.